Why Abraham Lincoln won the hearts of Americans. What makes a leader truly great? What makes someone not only respected but deeply loved by an entire nation? In the case of Abraham Lincoln, the answer lies not just in his presidency, but in his heart, his humility, and his unwavering commitment to justice. Lincoln's journey from a humble log cabin to the highest office in the land is one of the greatest success stories in history. But his true victory was in winning the hearts of the American people. Today, we explore why Lincoln remains one of the most beloved figures in history. A leader who came from the people. Abraham Lincoln was not born into wealth or privilege. In fact, he grew up in absolute poverty in the frontier lands of Kentucky and Indiana. His family struggled to make ends meet, and young Lincoln worked long hours on the farm. But despite this hardship, he had an insatiable thirst for knowledge. Unlike other great leaders who had access to formal education, Lincoln had to teach himself. He walked miles to borrow books, reading everything from Shakespeare to law books. He learned through sheer determination, an early sign of the resilience that would define his presidency. This connection to the struggles of everyday Americans shaped Lincoln's character. He knew what it meant to struggle, to work hard, and to rise against the odds. And because of that, he never lost touch with the common people. One of the earliest traits that set Lincoln apart was his honesty. He earned the nickname Honest Abe long before he became president. It may seem like a small act, but it was this kind of integrity that made Lincoln respected by those who knew him. As a lawyer, he refused to take dishonest cases. When asked about his approach, he famously said, "Resolve to be honest at all events, and if in your own judgment you cannot be an honest lawyer, resolve to be honest without being a lawyer." His honesty wasn't just words, it was action. People believed him because he never misled them. Even in politics, a field often criticized for corruption, Lincoln stood as a beacon of truth. One of Lincoln's most defining characteristics was his moral courage. He spoke against slavery when many politicians were too afraid to do so. In 1858, Lincoln took a strong stance against slavery in his debates with Stephen Douglas, stating, "As I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master." This was a bold statement in a time when the country was deeply divided. Lincoln's views were not always popular. Many accused him of trying to destroy the Southern way of life. But he didn't waver. He believed that America could not be half free and half slave. His moral conviction made him a leader people could trust, even if they didn't always agree with him. When the Civil War broke out, Lincoln was not just a president. He was a leader who deeply felt the pain of his people. Unlike many leaders who remained in the safety of their offices, Lincoln personally visited battlefields and hospitals. He listened to soldiers' stories, comforted grieving families, and stayed up late worrying about the fate of the nation. He knew that leadership wasn't just about strategy, it was about humanity. And that is why Americans loved him. Lincoln's most enduring legacy was his decision to free enslaved people in 1863 with the Emancipation Proclamation. For millions, Lincoln was not just a leader, he was a liberator. His decision changed the course of American history and ensured that freedom would be a defining value of the nation. Tragically, Lincoln did not live to see the nation fully reunite. On April 14, 1865, he was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth. But his legacy did not die that day. To this day, Lincoln remains a symbol of honesty, justice, and leadership. He won the hearts of Americans because he never stopped fighting for them. What do you admire most about Abraham Lincoln? Let us know in the comments. And if you found this inspiring, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.